Hello and welcome to all of you who find this General Pick a Charm collective reading. My name is Seven, and today I wanted to go over something a little bit interesting, something a little bit new for me as well. I'm really trying to step outside of my comfort zone and experiment with my style of divination and the general services that I'm able to offer to the collective, especially throughout Pisces season. I've been in deep thoughts about a lot of my own power and magic and how I'm able to share that, not just with the universe at large, but also with the people that cohabit this beautiful earth with me, and also how I'm able to share that same sense of love and empowerment and wisdom with myself. So, in this digression of mine, if you will, I also was reminded of the paradox of choice. For those of you who are a bit unfamiliar with that phrase, what it simply means is that even if there is a sense of liberation with having options and not having a sense of confinement or attachment to anyone or anything, it can also be a bit overwhelming to make a decision and place weight on that decision, especially if it is in connotation to our employment, our home, the people that we love, or anything that holds a high stake or regard in our current sphere of reality. So I decided to make this video just to provide insight, if you will. If you are stuck at some sort of crossroads, you're stuck at a fork in the road, you're not entirely sure if you should go with option A or option B, if you should do this or you should do that, if you should walk away or if you should stay. If you're not entirely sure of what your next step is and you are simply trying to explore the realm of possibility with each option before you dive in, then this is the video for you, my beautiful viewers. I thought it would be especially helpful during this particular time of filming, as I'm currently speaking. The moon is in Taurus and it had just transitioned into Taurus, and Mercury has also just transitioned into Pisces. So there is a very experimentative element to our style of communication, and also a sense of flow and fluidity as well. Seeing more so like where conversation naturally leads us, as opposed to trying to manufacture synergy or some sort of fluidity between two forces of nature or elements, if you will. There's a bit more harmony, but also a bit more illusion as well, because Pisces is ruled by Neptune at the end of the day. Neptune is a rather hazy planet. There is a lot of gas that surrounds Neptune. We're not really able to see too much of what exactly goes on there for that reason. So I think it'll be helpful to at least take the moment that we have right here, right now, within this reading, to safely go through the mist a little bit and see what lies on the other side, if you will. So as always, I have three options in front of us. It's so funny because we recently just had this new moon in Pisces, and the day of the new moon in Pisces, I ended up going to the beach with a very close friend of mine that I actually haven't spoken to in quite some time. Chelsea, if you're watching this, I love you so much. Thank you for going with me. I appreciate you more than words can explain, but I digress. I picked a lot of seashells, and I figured why not use some of these shells as a charm for my next reading. We are in the beautiful watery depths of Pisces season after all, so I figured why not tie it in all together and give it a little bit of cohesion, if you will, a little bit of a theme. So we currently have the red jasper in the first shell. We have a little baby UNAKITE in the second shell, and a little baby CITRINE in the third shell. So feel free to take a moment to pause right here if you need to and decide which of these vessels are the most appropriate embodiment of who you've come to be within this current cycle of growth. It doesn't have to always be a physical representation, but even if it's merely a feeling, go with that gut instinct, go with that first feeling or that nudge towards a particular group. Remember, you are more than welcome to watch more than one group if you feel called to do so. And I will go ahead and get started on your readings. Hello and welcome to all of you who have chosen the little Jasper Pearl as your charm for today's messages. Let's go ahead and leave her right over here. Lovely. So, as the title and very long intro have explained, today we're going to be getting into our Crossroads reading, my beautiful Jasper Collective. If you have found yourself in the middle of a fork within your current path, then this reading was most definitely meant to find you. It is simply meant to provide introspection on the choices that lie ahead of you. It's not meant to sway you in one particular direction or the other unless you feel called to make that executive decision with the information gathered from this reading. Rather, it's here to provide you some context and a little bit more room, if you will, to see how exactly you're able to mold and shape your reality accordingly with the current power and weight of these decisions that lie ahead of you. So for the oracle card that we have here, this is going to be your little pearl of the reading. When I was shuffling, I asked Spirit, what is the name of the path that has forked for you? And that is going to be your heart of the reading, as I normally call it. But I mean, this is a little shell reading, hello, so it's a pearl today. And I have my handy dandy tarot over here as always, and I have two sets of oracle cards. So I'm going to use two different sets for tarot to see the differentiations between the two options, and then we'll just take it from there. So the name of the path that has forked for you is Devotion, my beautiful Jasper Collective. This is all about you kind of testing your sense of loyalty, if you will, your sense of commitment, your sense of passion as well. This is the royal lily, that flower that is being illustrated on this particular card. And lilies, what I find so beautiful and regal about them is that they are such a hard plant to grow. There definitely is a lot of devotion necessary if you do have lilies in your garden. I don't know if any of you are familiar, or if any of you play Animal Crossing and kind of get that idea. You need that 5-star island, you feel me? You need a lot of time and patience to grow the flowers, especially the ones that are most beautiful. They take the longest to bloom, my beautiful Jasper Collective. So I think that this is kind of testing your might, if anything, and testing your ability to stick with your ideas, stick with your guns, stick with your intuition and integrity as well, and asking for you to purpose your power, not just your potential in some way, shape, or form. So let's go ahead and leave this right over here for now. And let's get started with some tarot. So I have the Tarot of the Dead right here. And then I also have the Crow Tarot to my right. All of the names of the decks will be available in the description, as always, just so we have a good idea of what we're working with here. So let me go ahead and start shuffling. As LMFAO would say, every day I am shuffling, so here I am. All right, let's start with, let's call it for organization's sake, Path A, my beautiful Jasper Collective. What does Path A hold for the Jasper Collective Spirit? What does Path A hold for the Jasper Collective, please, Spirit? What does Path A hold? Okay, what does the Path A hold for the Jasper Collective, please, Spirit? What does Path A hold for the Jasper Collective, please, Spirit? What does Path A hold for the Jasper Collective, please, Spirit? What does Path A hold for the Jasper Collective, please, Spirit? What does Path A hold for the Jasper Collective, please, Spirit? What does Path A hold for the Jasper Collective, Spirit? What's an energy of Path A hold? Many and growth. Whoa! I'm being called to take this one. Okay, so is this me or is this my deck reversed? Some of it is, some of it isn't. Oh, I shuffled it a little differently than I normally do. Muy interesante. I normally don't do reversals like that, but you know what? We'll take it for this one. I think that was necessary. I don't believe in coincidences. So let me go ahead and lay these out. I don't want to get too many cards so we don't overwhelm ourselves with information. So I'm going to leave it at that. Alright, the bottom deck energy for Path A for you in this current moment in my beautiful Jasper collective is Strength. This is such a gorgeous card. This is a gorgeous deck. I am geeked to be using it. I can't think of a better word, so geeked it is, but I really am. It's amazing. I feel like we've already bonded so much. If I'm honest, I've used it for quite a few pick a card readings on my Instagram. If you are not following, the link for that is also in the description if you feel called to have a more what's the word I'm looking for? Available. There we go. A more available style of readings, because I know I only upload here ever so often, mainly once a week. So I have more there if you are interested. If you already follow me, hello. Welcome. Welcome after my brief hiatus from the realms of YouTube. But I digress. Let me get into your energy, my beautiful Jasper collector. So for Path B, please, Spirit, what does Path B hold for? Whoa, that was instant. Interesting. The Eight of Cups in reverse is your first card. Okay, let's keep it going. What does Path B hold in terms of growth and fulfillment for the Jasper collective, please? What does Path B hold? Whoa. I don't want to take all of those, but if I'm sure they'll come back if they're meant to be. What does Path B hold in terms of evolution and fulfillment for the Jasper collective, please? Okay, two cards came out. Alright, so we have the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Swords. Let's get one more card. Let's get one more. And then we'll start with the tarot, and then we will work our way up from there. Woo! Alright, for the Jasper collective, please. Whoa, okay, alright, instantaneous. Alright, so that's the Two of Pentacles. Alright, your bottom deck energy for Path B is the Eight of Wands, my beautiful, beautiful Jasper collective. So let's go ahead and pop her down. Let me actually turn this over so we see everything, including the bottom decks. And under that, wow, under the Strength card is the Ten of Cups. I wonder what's under here. Let me take a peek. Queen of Cups. Okay, so this is there's a lot of emotion behind the decision here. What I find funny is that the Queen of Cups is under the Crow tarot deck's bottom energy, and then we have the King of Cups. That was the first card that flew out over here for you. So let's see what we're working with. All right, let me take a minute to soak in this energy. Okay, so for you, my Jasper collective, I feel that one of the options that you have involves you going back to something that you are familiar with, and the reason why you want to go back is because that sense of familiarity is very comforting, and it's very comforting to your self-esteem and sense of mental adaptability in particular. It doesn't require a lot of forethought. It doesn't require a lot of demanding action, if you will. There is one opportunity here where you're able to take a bit more of your time, and there's another one that's calling for more assertive action. So allow me to digress. So let's start with Path A. So here the first card that came out for you is the King of Cups. I love the illustration of the King of Cups in this particular deck. The reason why is as follows. He has a little martini right here, dry ass martini as well. on the upper right portion, and on the bottom half, all he has is more laid back attire. He has a guitar, and what I find so interesting is that this is how he flows, if you will. This is how the King of Cups is able to show and express these emotions that he holds so closely and tightly within his internal world. He looks for some sort of medium, if you will, or some sort of substance. There's something additional about this particular path where you're kind of unmasking yourself, my Jasper Collective. There's one option here that I feel is calling for you to be more of your authentic self, but I feel like part of you, even though you're ready for that, you're not ready for the strife that comes with it, if you will. The reason why I say that is because over here, there's the Queen of Wands, and I feel like a lot of you prefer to just sit very pretty on your throne and to keep it as simple as that, not having to worry too much about being too open or allowing yourself to flow a little differently because you already have a sense of establishment in one of these options. In one of these options, you're establishing yourself, and in the other one, you already have a sense of grounding, a sense of familiarity. One of these is basically like the road less traveled, and one of them also, and that's Path A in particular. Path A is definitely the road less traveled for you, my beautiful Jasper Collective. And when I say that, what essentially I'm meaning is that this is calling for you to be very in touch with your truth, not just your big ideas and your sense of mental clarity. Because I do see quite a bit of swords present here. In this deck, pistols are swords, just so we're all on the same page. So to see 2 sword cards here, and then to see another one in Path B, there is definitely stimulation here. I definitely think this is about you embarking on an idea in particular. And depending on how you execute this idea, it heavily depends on who's receptive of it, meaning it's going to have an effect on how an audience sees you. Maybe some of you are looking to build an audience, or maybe you're in some sort of like higher position within your job, or maybe you work with people and you're your own boss essentially. And this is calling for you to think a little differently and act on your feet, and to not be afraid to experiment with the way in which you invigorate and form ideas. With this one, with the King of Cups, in Path A in particular, with the King of Cups in reverse, this one is a bit more of the emotional side, if you will. The reason why I say that is because we also have the Hermit in reverse that is being paired with the King of Cups. With the Hermit in reverse, it's asking for you to kind of come out of your cave, come out of your shell. That's definitely what I'm hearing with this particular pairing. It's asking for you to not only come out of your shell, but also allow for your truth and all of the wisdom that you've gained to be heard, especially with the Ace of Swords here. There's more passivity here with option B. You don't really have to assert yourself as much because your place is already established, like I was saying earlier. But here it's like you're kind of having to reestablish who you are all over again, kind of like you're almost starting on a blank slate. I feel like for a lot of you, if this has to do with an idea in particular, or like something like some sort of project or endeavor, I think that Path A, or this particular execution of said idea, is all about you being more inclined towards your more artistic, flowy sense of self. And I feel like not a lot of you are used to that, especially if you're in that Queen of Wands energy. The Queen of Wands is very expressive, do not get me wrong. The Queen of Wands is so full of life and vibrancy and vitality, and that is why she is the beautiful charismatic figure that people look to for inspiration. But with that being present here, and then to see like a king in reverse here, I feel like this is calling for you to also be more open about your wounds, or to be open about what it is that you need to develop internally, my beautiful Jasper Collective. In this one, nobody's really questioning you. You're going back to something that knows who you are and how you operate already. It's simply about you in this moment making the time to do so, with the Two of Pentacles in reverse. But here it's so funny because you have another two. You have the Two of Swords in reverse. So it's like you're coming to realize that in order for you to embark on path A, you have to not be so indecisive about your expression of truth, not being decisive about, not being too indecisive, excuse me, about your expressive of truth, and not being afraid to experiment with said expression, especially with the Hermit in reverse. It's about taking the knowledge that you've gained from solitude and finding new ways of transmuting it and sharing it with the world around you. It's about being ready to step out of your comfort zone. And I think that this is calling you for you to be a bit more emotional on path A, which is why it's you stepping out of your comfort zone, my beautiful Jasper collective. I feel like you're not used to being so vulnerable and so open about what exactly it is that you have been through. Perhaps this is also calling for you to put yourself back out there again after a long period of solitude. It doesn't have to necessarily even mean dating, but also just generally finding new friends, finding new places to hang out, new places to explore, finding a new hobby. If this doesn't have to deal with a particular idea, I think that if it's just about you and your devotion to yourself primarily, and your devotion to growth and self-care, I feel like that's primarily what this reading is about, if I'm honest. You finding ways to branch out in terms of your sense of growth. And I think that opportunities are being presented to you that are very reminiscent of the past and who you once were, and how you had a more swift and direct way of being, versus here where you're embarking on a more I don't want to say elusive, but I will say quiet, something that's a bit more emotional, if you will. Like, I keep saying emotional because I feel like that's the name of the game here. I feel like a lot of you are basically wondering if you should express how you feel in the plainest terms that I can think of, wondering if this is the right time for you to devote all of that emotional depth inwards, and to focus on your truth primarily, and how you're able to give that to others, let alone yourself. This one is a bit more solitary, I feel, this particular path A, because you're going to be doing a lot of introspection. You're going to be doing a lot of thinking about who you are and how you've come to be the person that you are. There's a lot of healing and a lot of shadow work as well present with this particular pile, my beautiful Jasper collective. So if this sense of expression, if you feel as if you really need to say something to somebody, especially with the Ace of Swords here, that's definitely a big card about communication and about establishing your ideas to the world around you and the people around you, and letting your mental agility be known to some degree. I think that in order for you to do that, you will also have to be reminded of the fact that you have to be vulnerable if you're willing to share this newfound wisdom, my beautiful Jasper collective, as opposed to path B that we have over here, where you can keep that Queen of Wands energy, but you won't necessarily be sharing as much of yourself, I feel, especially with the Eight of Cups in reverse. That's why I said this could involves you returning to something, whether it be a past version of yourself, whether it be someone from the past, or perhaps, you know, some sort of employment opportunity from somewhere that you once worked, and now they're asking you to be on the team again. With the Eight of Cups in reverse, that's kind of what I think of whenever I see this card in this particular position. So this is calling for you to go back to what you know, especially going back to basics, sticking to what you know. That's the name of the game of path B. You sticking to what you know, sticking to the road that's familiarized, and not being afraid to venture forward, because you know that you're going to gain some sort of favorable outcome, because you're not putting too much of yourself on the line, so to speak. The reason why I say that is because we also have the Knight of Swords coming out here, and the Knight of Swords is very swift and very agile, like we've been talking about with all of the sword energy that's present here. But the difference with the Knight of Swords is that he's very quiet with that sense of deliverance. There isn't really a lot of noise made with the Knight of Swords. It's about swift, quiet action, going in and out with ease. That's about it. Maybe this even has to deal with like deciding if you want to go see like relatives again for some of you, and you've gone through so much change, and now you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to see all these people yet. But I think that you kind of sticking to this very familiarized image, with the Queen of Wands being present here, I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. What I do think is that it's enough of a safety net for confidence, I should say. That's primarily what Path B is about. It's about having that sense of assurance and security that people aren't going to be too inquisitive about who you are and where you've been, because you kind of like having that what you see is what you get kind of energy. But you feel like you're what am I saying? Excuse me. You're feeling compelled to share more in this current time, my beautiful Jasper Collective, or you're being asked to share more of yourself, I should say. Whether this is your call or not, you making this particular decision. What I think is that if you choose to stick to what you know and to just put on a brave face and just tell the world around you that you don't have much going on, and that's about it, and you're ready to just get to your grind and get to your day-to-day, your normalized routine, and establish it, then to go with path B. But if you're ready to reintroduce yourself to the world around you, go with path A for sure. Go with being more open to how other people see you. I feel like that's something that's shifting here. I feel like you have a strong sense of devotion to your image, in particular, my beautiful Jasper Collective. This is primarily about like how other people see you, and how devoted you are to that particular image of yourself. That is what I feel like the gist of your choice is, with this being the name of the path that works for you. It's about you being devoted to this image of yourself, and how willing are you to put up a brave face for the sake of other people? How willing are you to be flexible and adaptable in your image? How much of you are you going to be willing to share? May I also remind you that you don't even have to choose path A or path B. You can kind of sandwich somewhere in between, and take information from both piles and make your own decision accordingly. I just wanted to remind you that that is always an option. But what I'm definitely feeling is that in one of these choices, you're sharing more of what you've been through, and how you're feeling in result of all of it. So I think that with you choosing path A, that will definitely require for you to be more vocal about your truth, to be more vocal about your experience and all of the growth that you have experienced recently in particular. If you are to go with path B over here, then that is the more safe image. This is you not really giving away too much, just kind of sitting in this very familiarized image that's kind of rooted in ego to some degree. I will say that, to be completely transparent with you, my Jasper Collective. But I will say that I feel like this is being done out of a sense of obligation, with the Two of Pentacles that's showing up right here. It's not about deception. It's simply about you getting things in order, getting a sense of balance, and a sense of control, even if it's temporary to some degree. I feel like that's why you want to hang on to this familiarized image of yourself, because it doesn't require for you to be too adaptable and malleable within environments or circumstances. And that is why this path is being split for you. May I remind you, my beautiful Jasper Collective, because the universe is asking you how much of you are you willing to share, and they kind of want to know like what they should throw your way in result of the answer that you provide for them, my beautiful Jasper Collective. Give me 1 second. Hello again, my beautiful Jasper Collective. let's go ahead and get right on back into your reading. So another thing that I actually did want to look at is how the bottom deck energy for path B is the Eight of Wands. So there is a bit more of that instant gratification energy, like I was kind of hinting at earlier here with path B. There's the sense of instant relief I want to hear for some of you. For others of you, this is just about like a quick rapid communication, if you will. It's not to say that there isn't any longevity to your sense of growth or what it is that you encounter and make for yourself when embarking on path B. But what I will say is it is a much swifter path, and I feel like in the end you will have to be flexible to some degree, especially now that the Lover's card is popping up under that. It's requiring for you to be more open in some way, shape, or form, because again, we have that Queen of Cups energy here, and that's more of that reserved emotional figure, like we were talking about earlier, the counterpart to the King of Cups. So I feel like you would still internalize a lot of emotion if you were to keep it under wraps, but I feel like there's going to come a point where you're going to have to communicate that to some degree to somebody. So see with the Ten of Cups and then death. Oh, don't we love it? And then death coming out after that. This is definitely a pattern that will come to a close on its own course for sure. But I will say that even if your path getting there isn't exactly the most turbulent, I'm trying to show all of the cards, but it's not letting me. Hold on a second. Let me get some of these out. Okay. Here we go. Okay, to some degree. All right, work. This is a new angle for me, so let's get into it. But with the Queen of Cups, and then we have the Lovers, and then under that we have the Ten of Cups here. I actually want to show you this card properly. It's very beautiful. I'm doing too much showing you all these cards. It's not going to fit in the frame. We're in this sense of experimentation together, but I digress. With the Ten of Cups here, popping up under all of that, I feel like at some point you will be open with somebody about everything that you've experienced and the sense of rebirth that you, if you're not currently going through, will go through to some degree. So that will unfold with the help of others. I feel like this is that more road less travel, because this is more of that solitary energy for you. And then under here we have strength, and we have the Ten of Cups again under that, which I think is kind of wild, to be honest. With the Strength card here coming out as your bottom deck energy, it is requiring for you to be more vulnerable, like we've been talking about. It's about knowing your strengths and weaknesses and not counting one more than the other, realizing that you are some of your parts, and this is a part of your journey and the story that you are meant to tell. With the Ten of Cups coming out under that, I feel like either way you will reach that sense of joy and fulfillment in your sense of expression and all that you have endured in your experience. That is definitely literally in the cards for you, my beautiful Jasper collective. It is simply about how you choose to get there, alone or with the community around you supporting you when you're later ready to break out of this particular shell. So I feel like here this is more of you like instantly breaking out of it yourself. This is again more of that solitary energy. What I like about the Strength card is it's not depicted with a lion. It really is just about the force of the skeleton here. He knows that he's dead after all. So if he eats fire, if he sets himself on fire even, there is nothing that can really get in the way of him putting on this show, of him putting on this bravado, if you will, because this is his story, his movie. He's directing it, cutting it, producing it, everything. That's very much Leo energy, and that is what the Strength card is. He knows that it's his movie, so he will win either way. And I think that is the energy for sure, or the mantra that is associated with path A for you. And with the Eight of Cups again, to be in reverse under that, I feel like this will be triggering, and you may want to go back to that more stabilized sense of identity or figure for a lot of you. But other than that, I feel like ultimately you will realize, especially with the Four of Cups in reverse, that you can't miss out on the opportunity to express your truth. With the King of Swords coming out of here in reverse, what I like is that this is the only suit figure that's wearing the same thing on both sides of his card. What you see is what you get with him. The only real difference is the positioning of the hand. He has a book in one, and then he has his hand completely open in the other. So the only thing that he's really hiding is knowledge, or everything that he knows in particular. So I feel like this is about you realizing that you can't continue to hide your wisdom, you can't continue to hide your experience, you can't continue to hide who you are, and that ultimately there is a need for not just collaboration, but acceptance, a community of some sort. You need to build yourself from the ground up in order for you to succeed on path A, my beautiful, beautiful Jasper Collective. I do want to let you know that. However, there is strength here. Not just the literal strength card like we were talking about earlier, but we also now have the Temperance card blessing this reading. And the Temperance card is all about adapting a new philosophy, adapting a sense of alchemy and adventure to your experience. And with the Six of Pentacles supporting that underneath, I definitely think that you engaging in this more experimentative energy in path A will definitely allow you to rekindle a lot of parts of yourself that you felt were lost along the way while you were trying to establish this more dominant figurehood or image for yourself, my beautiful Jasper Collective. So now let's go ahead and get some oracle cards to see more of the general theme for each of these groups. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my hedgewitch botanical oracle cards. They're so gentle, that's why I had to whisper when I said that. I actually have not used these since I got these in December, so oh, I'm sorry, I got very excited. I hit the camera. I didn't mean to hurt you. So let me go ahead and get some cards out for path A. What additional messages and affirmations do you have for path A's evolution? Maybe spirit. What does the Jasper Collective have ahead on path A? Okay, soothe. Yes, I definitely feel like that is a very, very big part of your path A, my beautiful Jasper Collective, of self-soothing, or you know, knowing what exactly it is that you need to hear, see, and feel in order for you to gain a sense of centeredness and tranquility overall. The reason why I say tranquility in particular is because the flower on this card is the chamomile, and chamomile is a great anxiety reliever, especially if you drink some chamomile tea. It's wonderful for right before bed if you are having a little bit of a trouble sleeping. Obviously, it's not a substitute if you have a more severe problem like insomnia. But for those of you that are just like, you know, having a day, you can't really stop tossing and turning, a nice soothing cup of chamomile tea is all you need. Just to get the body to chill out and find a sense of calmness, like we were talking about earlier, simply so you can get your mind straight. I think that you knowing how to meditate, knowing how to relieve emotions in particular, especially when they're more troublesome, finding outlets that are beneficial to your sense of expression as opposed to restricting, will be immensely helpful for you in path A, my beautiful Jasper Collective. Go ahead and see what other affirmations can be provided for path A for the Jasper Collective, please, Spirit. What other words and affirmations do you have about path A for the Jasper Collective, please, Spirit? Ooh, okay. And now we have sacred. Yes, especially with that hermit card that I'm seeing here. So there definitely is your inner sanctity that you are trying to protect, and you feel that being open in some way, shape, or form threatens the inner sanctity and balance that you've worked very hard to establish for yourselves, and you've had to suppress, if not suppress, stifle other parts of you in order for you to gain an established position here, my beautiful Jasper collective. And I feel that is something you don't want to give up, because you also don't want to sacrifice that sense of stability. But with Brighten as your bottom deck energy, with the calendula flower here, which is wonderful for brightening up your skin, and it's also great for soothing and anti-inflammation in particular. So with Brighten being your bottom deck affirmation for pile A, what I'm definitely feeling is that even if it feels daunting, even if it feels difficult, even if there are moments where it is difficult, you know, let's not undermine or undersell the severity of the human experience here. It really is providing you with a brighter and sunnier disposition in the long run, because you're being more authentic to who you really are. You're honoring your inner sanctity. You aren't in any way, shape, or form putting it in harm's way. In fact, you are allowing it to be seen to the world and taking it out of the caves, out of the darkness, and you are allowing other people and forces to collaborate with this beautiful universe that you've established with yourself, my Jasper collective. And there is nothing wrong with allowing other people in, because at the end of the day, we are social creatures. We cohabit, not just with other human beings, but other forms of life on this planet. And we find it to be easier to be in the company of our own species for the sake of survival. So I think that you kind of taking that into account when you are being out in the open, reminding yourself that the reason why you're even doing all this isn't necessarily for the sake of other people, but is the sake of you, for the sake of all of you being shown, seen, heard, felt, respected, and appreciated. So let's go ahead and get some oracle cards and some affirmations, if you will, for path B. For my beautiful Jasper collective, what words and affirmations do you have for the Jasper collective for path B, please, Spirit? What words and affirmations do you have for the Jasper collective for path B, Spirit? What words and affirmations do you have for the Jasper collective? Support them on path B, Spirit. What words and affirmations do you have for the Jasper collective to support them on path B? Oop. Stabilize. I don't even need to explain that. I don't even... Should I just stop the reading here? Let me stop. That's very self-explanatory. Stabilize. Yeah, this is all about that stabilized image that we were talking about, that sense of establishment that you are thinking of holding on to here, my beautiful Jasper collective. I feel like even if you find that there is a sense of stability here, it's still on shaky grounds, because you're not being entirely real and honest with yourself, and in result you're not going to be entirely honest with the people around you. Not to say that you are a liar, not to say that you ain't shit, because I mean, hurt people at the end of the day, and we don't make the best decisions when we're distressed, even if it doesn't necessarily revolve around you hurting other people, even if the way in which you deal with problems is more of a self-infliction, if you will. I think that either way, it's like you're not being fair to yourself, at first at least, with path B, because you're going in it with that image of stability in mind, not realizing that you're already building on a shaky foundation, if you will. There's more that needs to be secured, especially with your inner world and sense of reciprocation here, primarily. Even if you do get what you want, you get that quick conversation, and it's nice and easy because you don't have to over explain yourself. You get that old job back, you get that old lover back, whatever it may be. There's definitely a need for purification here, primarily, especially because the herb on this particular card is the St. John's wort, and St. John's wort is a really powerful herb for protection. So I think that this is calling for you not just to stabilize but secure your inner sanctity a bit more, and to provide more security for it, provide more security for who you really are, and to not forget that as you continue to build for yourself with Path B, my beautiful Jasper collective. Remember that there is that either way you look at it, there's something that you need to stabilize to some degree, literally like the card suggests. There is something here that needs to be restructured to some degree. And I feel like that is primarily in correlation to your inner world and how accessible it is to the people around you, let alone yourself. Like, how willing are you, again, to, here we go. As I was saying that, nurture is the card that comes out here. We have the clover here, a little bit of luck to bless you. And your bottom deck energy is enhanced, the indigo herb for your path B. So listen, like I was saying earlier, I'm not doing this reading with the intention of telling you what is the right or wrong choice. I don't dictate morality. I don't dictate mortality either. But what I am simply providing you with is fair insight based on what it is that I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing here is there's even a difference in how these cards are being set up. I feel like there's more of like that structure, like we're talking about here. There's more of a flow present in this pile, just with the way that the cards are lying. So with nurture being the card that comes out for path B, what I'm feeling here is that this is also calling for you to remember to nurture yourself throughout the process, to nurture that inner world, because it's something that you are going to be delegating in private to some degree. So with the time that you do have to be your big, beautiful, authentic self, I think that using it to nurture your creativity, your inner child, and your general space and spirit at large will be very important here, because it will allow you to feel more comfortable with expressing all of it. Doesn't matter who the audience is or if anyone is even in the audience, you are still gaining an unconditional support system for yourself, even if that support system mainly comprises of you and you only, my beautiful Jasper Collective. I think that in the end it will also allow you to reach out to other people, because you'll feel a bit more inclined to get things off your chest. If I'm honest, you're going to be seeking nurturing and consolation from the people around you if you choose path B in the long run. Not to say that you won't hear, especially if that's a great way for you to de-stress and think things through, is to talk things out with a loved one or someone that you trust. But I feel like here it's a bit more of a necessity in path B than it is in path A. In path A, you will get to it organically, because you know that this is something that you're working on anyways, because you're reinforcing that muscle. You're reinforcing how much you flex your vulnerability and sensitivity. And here you're sharing it because you feel like you have to share it. You need to share it. You can't contain it anymore. So there's a need for you to, under that is the mystery card in the oracle cards here. So I definitely think that this is kind of asking for you to not be so elusive, my beautiful Jasper Collective. Let's go ahead and get some final oracle cards for you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up your reading. Alright, so for the Jasper Collective for Path A, what final affirmations do you have for Path A and the promise it holds for the Jasper Collective? I'm feeling called to take this one. Honesty. Okay. Extremely self-explanatory. So now let's go ahead and get on over to Path B and see what she says. Alright, so Path A, please, Spirit. What final words and affirmations do you have about the growth and promise that Path B holds for the Jasper Collective? Ooh, we got two cards. You got problems resolved and ancestors. Okay, I think that's, you know what? I like that. The bottom deck energy overall is children. 22, the Kunzite. 22 is a master number, by the way. It's master affinity and duality and balance and expression. So we're getting somewhere. So for Path A, to wrap this up, with the Seraphinite card here, and then we have honesty, the heart, and the third eye chakra. Yeah, this is definitely about you being your big, beautiful, authentic self, the road less traveled. And it's calling for you to approach that path with a sense of integrity, a sense of honesty, and with the intention to be very real with yourself and the people around you and how you're shifting accordingly. Because you could have an idea about yourself today and a completely transformed idea of yourself tomorrow. My beautiful Jasper collective. Energy is adaptable, it's malleable, and it's constantly in flux. And I think that you being honest about who you are amid all the change, amid all the fluidity, amid all the growth, and keeping account of your growth and sharing that accordingly with other people, you know, one step at a time, of course, whenever you are ready to do so. But being unconditionally and brutally honest with yourself throughout this process of expression and this process of authenticity is key here, because that is the name of the game after all, empathy, you being your authentic self, you being all of you unapologetically, and being honest about what exactly it is that you are and aren't willing to tolerate when it comes down to how people not necessarily perceive but treat your presence and identity accordingly. And now over here with two cards coming out for this particular one, we have the lapis lazuli, problems resolved, the third eye and throat chakras, and then under that we have the pipestone, which is the ancestors root chakra. So I definitely think that this is kind of you having again like that quick solve for problems, but I feel like you getting those problems solved with family or people that you trust, like we saw earlier, people coming to you even if they aren't blood family, but who you consider to be family, the family that you've managed to build for yourself, even if that's just close friends or guardians or more distant relatives, if you will. I think that they are going to play a pivotal role in you overcoming this particular cycle, my beautiful, beautiful Jasper collective, especially with the lapis lazuli here. People are definitely going to come to your aid to some degree, because I'm thinking of how this is primarily dealing with like water energy. And with water energy, I always think about the beauty and power of connection. It doesn't always have to be romantic, mind you. It can be friendships or family as well. And I think that connection is a very big part of Path B. The people that you know and how you communicate with them is very important here. Another reason why I think ancestors come up, because I think that this is also tied to some sort of karmic pattern that you have within your ancestral lineage. Kind of having to sacrifice your sense of identity for a greater good or commonality, or just to avoid stress or problems ultimately. But I think that it's not necessarily going to generate more problems, but you are going to see that it isn't necessary for you to hold on to this facade or this mask anymore. And other people being around you will support that notion, even if they aren't directly offering you words or actions of importance or advice, really anything to help generally, to be honest. I think that them just being around is going to show you that it's time for you to really step into all of you and not be afraid of the backlash, not be afraid of what other people think or what other people have to say, and reminding yourself that it's necessary for you to express yourself for your own good, for your greatest and highest good. Your experience is necessary on this plane, just as your translation and transmutation of it is, my Jasper collective. Don't sell yourself short. Be real, be open, be honest, and get used to it. That's kind of the gist of the message that I'm getting here for your Crossroads, my beautiful Jasper collective. So thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you taking time here with me today. Thank you also for digging the new setup and the new angle that I have going on. I'm trying out new things, seeing what the girls like, if you will. Do feel free to give me a little like and subscribe if you're digging the FM frequency I'm throwing off into the ether here. Or leave me a little comment down below if this resonates, or if you have any other questions or concerns. Please be safe, please be blessed, and I will definitely see you on the next one. Bye! Hi, and welcome to all of you who have chosen the little baby UNAKITE pearl that we have here as your charm for today's messages. so let's go ahead and get right on into it. Let me give you the rundown, the schematic, if you will, of today's reading, because it is a little bit different than usual, my beautiful UNAKITE collective. So what we're working with today is a Crossroads reading. For those of you who are a bit unfamiliar, what basically that means is if you find yourself stuck between a rock and a hard place, or if you're deciding on an appropriate course of action forward, you're trying to decide between two places, two opportunities, two people even, for some of you, but that doesn't always have to deal with romance. Even it could be like business partners or friends even, like kind of deciding who to go with. If you want to like hang out or like have a good night out or do a particular activity or responsibility with, I'm hearing, for others of you. So we have one oracle card here as the pearl of your reading. I know normally I say the heart, but I mean we have shells today, so hello, pearl. And basically what this oracle card represents is the name of the path that has forked for you. I said that exactly when I was shuffling, when I was pulling the oracle cards before I hit my little record button. And the name of the path that has forked for you, my beautiful UNAKITE collective, is acceptance. And here we have the evening primrose. Evening primrose is actually great for tightening the skin. I don't know if any of you know that. It's also good for redness too. So there's an idea if you want to work a little bit more with herbalism. And what I really like about that is that it really is such a sweet flower. So there's a sense of sweetness in here. For some, I'm hearing maybe even bittersweet between one of the two choices that you have. But it's about accepting your fruits, accepting your vibrancy and the vitality that you hold, and the compassion that you share with yourself, let alone other people. That is something that is definitely being forked for you in this beautiful moment, my beautiful UNAKITE collective. I think this is about you accepting the things you cannot change and taking control of what you can, to put in layman's terms. But of course we will get more cards to clarify. So what I'm going to do is I have two different handy dandy tarot card decks with me today. The name of the decks will be in the description as always, so we know what it is that we're working with. I have the Tower of the Dead and the Crow Tarot deck. And then I also have two different types of oracle cards here to provide us with some affirmations. So I'm using two different decks, so each spread has its own energy and its own course or story, if you will, so we can get also better imagery and a better feel of the energy between the two options that you have. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with the Crow Tarot, and let's see what we can get ourselves into, my beautiful UNAKITE collective. Let's see what the universe has in store for you. So for the beautiful UNAKITE collective, please, Spirit, what does path A hold for them? Okay, automatically, first card out, bang, strength. Okay, so this definitely does have to deal with accepting the things you cannot change and taking control of what you can. That's very evolved fire sign flexibility and adaptability, knowing that you can't set the world on fire, but having your controlled wildfires, if you will, to get rid of any of the waste or outgrown vegetation of your particular universe, my beautiful UNAKITE collective. So let's go ahead and get some more cards before I get caught up on just one. I do want to paint a nice little picture here for you. So for the UNAKITE collective, please, Spirit, what does path A? Also, I'm going to be referring to them as path A and B, just so we're clear, for the sake of organization primarily. So on path A, please, Spirit, what can the UNAKITE collective look to in terms of growth? Ooh, okay, a little card here. All right, we had the Three of Pentacles coming out. Interesting. What does path A hold? Okay, we have two cards. Oh, okay. So we have the Queen of Pentacles joining us now in all of her grounded glory, and we also have the Eight of Swords popping up as the last card for this particular path. Bottom deck energy is the Six of Wands. Very, very interesting. And under that we have Judgment, and under that Justice. Okay, let me get some more info before I jump to conclusions here. All right, so let's get some information. for path B with this deck that I have in my hands after I can organize this. Okay, I want it to be nice and neat so we can see everything in its entirety. All right, so let's go ahead and give her a cute little shuffle. All right, so for the UNAKITE collective, please, Spirit, what can they expect on path B in terms of promise and growth? What can the UNAKITE collective expect on path B within the promise and growth it holds? Okay, hello, Miss Thing. I am being shown this in reverse, so I will take this in reverse. The first card that came out is the Six of Pentacles in reverse. All right, let's see. For path B, please, Spirit, what can the UNAKITE collective look to in terms of development and promise? What is in store for the UNAKITE collective in path B in terms of development and promise? What is in store for the UNAKITE collective in path B? So evolution and promise. Okay, okay. Okay, that's a lot of cards. I'm not taking all of those. I'm sorry, Spirit. But we have two that came out. We have Miss High Priestess. Hello. Okay. Interesting, interesting. And we also have, if I can move her over. Lovely. And then we also have the Eight of Cups that has joined the chat. All right, let's get one more card. And then we will get into this tea, Mama. So for the last card for the UNAKITE collective for path B, please, Spirit, what can we look to in terms of growth and promise on path B? What can the UNAKITE collective do in terms of growth and promise on path B? What can the UNAKITE collective do in terms of growth and promise? Whoa, okay. I'm being shown two cards. I will take it. It's fine. The King and the Queen of Pentacles. Excusez-moi. Excusez-moi. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. I was not expecting that. Wow, I love that. That's a little plot twist. I appreciate that. Your bottom deck energy for path B is the Five of Wands. Let me see if I can give you a better view of her. Boop, there we go. The Five of Wands. Okay. Let me sit in this energy because the Queen of Pentacles is present in both piles, which I think is interesting. I think this has to do with, I feel like this has to do with a person for a lot of you. Really just your ability to heal yourself and how you're able to accept defeat or accept what you cannot control, like we were talking about earlier. I don't want to say defeat because that implies that you've lost something and you haven't really. You are still sitting in this very prominent Queen of Pentacles energy, either way you put it. So it's not as if you're exactly sacrificing or losing a part of yourself, regardless of decision you make. I think it's simply about the level of balance and reciprocation present within each. So let me explain. So over here, let's get started here. The first card that has come out for path A for you, my beautiful UNAKITE collective, is the Strength card, which is this little baby right here. So with Strength coming out as the first card for your reading, I definitely think that this is about, like I said earlier, you harnessing all of you, harnessing your strengths and your weaknesses, taking all of them into account accordingly, not taking one into account more than the other, and realizing that you are a sum of your parts. You are a being that is complex and fluid, and no one will ever be able to minimize your complexity or the tenacity associated with your power. With that being joined by the Three of Pentacles over here, I think this is about you utilizing both your strengths and weaknesses. But what I want to point out as the major difference is that there's only one figurehead. There's only one court figurehead in this particular pile, and there's more people present here. And not to say that this is of an entanglement of some sort. Perhaps this is for some of you, honestly, but that's not going to be the case for all of you. Perhaps some of you are wondering if you should leave an entanglement and if that's the right thing to do for you here. Pile A is suggesting that it is calling for you to accept that you will be a strong, suited figure, irregardless of the choice that you make, irregardless of who is and isn't around in your life, my beautiful Unakite collective. You will emerge victorious. You will emerge successful. You will emerge and rise to each and every occasion with strength, with grace, with dignity and respect, not just for yourself, but for the people around you primarily. And I think that this is about you releasing yourself from a situation that confines all of this beauty that you hold, this internal and external beauty that you hold. I feel like this is about it not being not all of it being seen. I feel like there's a lot that you're holding back, especially with all of the swords that's in this particular card with the Eight of Swords. It's all about you restricting yourself to some degree, or mentally restricting yourself. I feel like a lot of you know your worth and engage with people and opportunities that are on par to said worth, but I feel like this is a situation where instead of like sitting on your throne with this Queen of Pentacles energy like we're seeing here, you stepped off of that throne and now you're building, you're now engaging in a collaborative effort with the pentacle that you have. You aren't just sitting with the pentacle anymore. You're putting your pentacle in towards something. You're getting off your throne. And I feel like that is something that not a lot of you are used to doing. It's a little similar to pile A, but I feel like this deals mainly with one particular person. For a lot of you, this isn't about a group of people. This is about one person in particular and how they are interacting with your power and your worth and your beautiful sincerity and groundedness overall. Not to say that they aren't being grounded, but I feel like in this you aren't seeing all of the beauty and promise that your power holds you in pile A. I feel like if you're choosing to kind of just stay where you are and to just build accordingly, and even if it's something that you know is calling for you to bite your tongue or to just keep your thoughts to yourself until you feel it's the right time to make everything known. I think that this is also about you keeping your integrity very close to your chest, not getting so caught up in the fact of that you have to withhold a part of yourself in order for you to make this work. I feel like what you're holding back is how you really think and feel about this particular situation. And I think that especially the bottom deck energy is the Six of Wands here, and then we have Judgment under that, and then Justice under that. I think that you're not being treated fairly and you're wondering if you should walk away. I think that's the gist of this particular thing, whether that's a lover or a boss. I mean, it could be, because we do have the Pentacle figureheads over here, or a friend that isn't really appreciating you, or a family member, because whenever I see Pentacles I always think of family. So this could even be like a parental figure or a guardian figure that you feel isn't truly respecting your dignity and devotion to yourself. I feel like they kind of write you off to some degree, and you're kind of wondering if you should stay and make it work, even though you realize that you're holding yourself back to some degree. Because in the traditional Rider-Waite card with Strength, it's about the woman taming the lion. I think that's about you taming that ferocious tenacity like we were talking about earlier, and not being so bold and toning down your audacity to some degree. I feel like is necessary here for you in path A. I think that this is still allowing you to sit in this grounded energy. You're not exactly having to compromise your image or your ability to get through to yourself. What I think that you're primarily compromising is other people's accessibility to you. And how they're able to reach out to you and seek sincerity, even if this is an unfair situation and the person doesn't deserve sincerity entirely. I feel like you are still wanting to walk away with dignity, but you're unsure if that's possible in this particular situation. But with the Judgment card showing up under the Six of Wands, it's saying that this is entirely your call. That's whatever I see as advice whenever I see the Judgment card. And also there's Pluto here, so this is all about transformation, rebirth. This is about literally souls rising at the trumpets, knowing that it is time to ascend accordingly. I'm sorry that I hit you. Are you okay? Do you need a band-aid? But like I was saying, with the Judgment card popping out here, this is all about your call, knowing what you want, your world, your rules, essentially. That is what Spirit is saying here with the Judgment card. It's about asking you to stay true to your higher calling and your power through all the strife and the grief, knowing that there is a greater outcome for you, irregardless of the petty obstacles that are thrown your way, especially with the Six of Wands here. You know that you will emerge victorious. You will get what you want either way. Even if you stay a bit more passive and a bit more slow building, I think that it allows you to gain a more insight on what it means to be free, interestingly enough. Insight on what it means to be who you really are and not hold back, primarily, not hold back any part of yourself, to stand proud and firm in all of you, and knowing that people will admire you and respect you, irregardless of if this one person does or doesn't, knowing that you win at the end of the day. Either way you put it, you will win. You will rise to the occasion. You will rise above any and all obstacle that is thrown your way, and you will be met with fairness and equity and truth. My beautiful, beautiful UNAKITE collective, reminding yourself of your truth and why there is a necessity with the notion of balance, whether it be an internal or balance, external balance, or the balance between relationships. It's important for you to be reminded of the crucial nature of balance and harmony in general. And while look, under that we have the Ten of Pentacles here. So I definitely think that you choosing to stay in this more reserved energy, I want to say, you will still emerge out, and even if you are considering getting out of a situation where you feel trapped, which is what the Eight of Swords is, because you're feeling that this is unfair, I feel like even if you aren't able to leave the situation immediately, and it takes you time for yourself to be reassured that this is kind of not going nowhere, I think that when you do hit that moment, especially with the Six of Wands here, it's not a sad moment. It's one where you realize that you are so much more than what you have previously thought. And I feel like that is going to be the light bulb that kind of switches on the top of your head. There's going to be something that occurs that reminds you that you don't have to stay here. You don't have to be here. You don't have to stay chained to this circumstance. There's going to be some sort of loophole or way out that is presented to you. And you will emerge victorious either way. You will get that justice that you are seeking, that sense of fairness that you are seeking. So moving on to pile B here. The first pile B, path B, excuse me. The first card that has come out for you is the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So that's where I'm getting all of this unfairness from. I feel like you are wanting to walk away from a very unfair situation, especially with the Eight of Cups following that. This is if you are to leave, if you are to walk away from this person. The reason why I say this person, because we have this this conniving ass right over here, Mr. King of Pentacles, showing up to the Queen of Pentacles, which literally came out together, mind you. So that is why I definitely think that this is about a person for a lot of you, maybe a romantic or karmic situation, especially with the High Priestess showing up here to kind of confirm that more cosmic energy within this particular tie. So I feel like this is about you walking away from a sense of imbalance primarily. Even if this isn't about a person, I feel like if this is just about you accepting your femininity, I'm really hearing for a lot of you, and building that divine feminine energy into something that is much more structured and much more resilient. I feel like that is definitely a path worth embarking upon. And I feel like if you're wondering if you should focus on that or if you should continue to practice fluidity, I feel like if you are to practice fluidity within your practice and keep doing feminine and masculine balance within your energy work, I feel like you have to realize the imbalance between that spectrum in particular. Realize the imbalances and the unfairness that exists between your femininity and masculinity and how you're able to repair that relationship between the two spectrums of energy accordingly within your own world of context, of course. I say that with the Eight of Cups here because something has to be left behind, and I think that it's just this notion of selfishness that needs to be left behind here. If this isn't in regards to a person, if it's just about you giving in to this masculine energy that you have, especially with that strength card here, and not giving into your femininity and your inner world and womb. Irregardless of your gender, we all have feminine and masculine energy, and it's important for us to work with both, especially if you are someone that identifies as non-binary or is very fluid within the gender spectrum. It's really important to ground your feminine and masculine energy, especially when it comes down to how we express both parts of ourselves. As a non-binary person, I can tell you that it's really difficult to do like shadow work and ego death for two different aspects of your existence, but it's very rewarding and it's necessary. And I think that this is about you walking away from that more selfish, self-serving energy of your divine masculine, and making more room for equity between the feminine and the masculine by letting the feminine have a bit more room to express herself. If this isn't about you wanting to shake up your spiritual practice, I said all of that because the High Priestess is here, and I always think of spiritual practice when I think of the High Priestess and about just general internalized growth and evolution. If this is about another person, I think that you are kind of tired of this person being selfish and you're always willing to collaborate, and this person is constantly just wanting to take from you. This person is constantly wanting to take more than they ever give, and that is something that isn't going to be sustainable in the long run. Even if this is a figurehead of reliability, I think that it is necessary for you to reclaim your power, my beautiful UNAKITE collective, all of your power in this particular context of a relationship or a person. I think it's necessary for you to stand firm in your truth, even if you're a bit more passive in your exit, so to speak. I feel like either way, you're not looking to make a grand exit or to burn all the bridges ablaze and not look back. I think that you're looking to leave with dignity primarily, and that in order for you to do so, you have to be willing to be honest about what's unfair to you, even if this isn't about you necessarily walking away from a person. If it's just about you trying to rectify a situation ongoing within your relationship. I think that you addressing this inequality that's currently existing, this imbalance, this more self-serving attitude that exists within a relationship, which is a collaborative effort of forces. I think that is something that really needs to be addressed, because if not, we have the Five of Wands as the bottom deck energy, and that's all about conflict. It's all about even if it's said in a heat in a moment, an exchange of words, an exchange of energy that isn't exactly harmonious. And under that, we have the Page of Cups, and then we have the Five of Swords, and then under that we have the Lovers, and then under that we have the Six of Cups. So I feel like not a lot of you are wanting to or some of you, I should say, don't want to walk away from the person, but you do want to walk away from this pattern that they've been exhibiting, and that is something to address. It's not something that's going to just go away, if that's what you've been wondering. This is something that you need to talk about, which is why you're here. But hello, I guess that's the reassurance that some of you needed. Because this person has too much going on. Especially like under that we have the Page of Cups, so there is like some sort of apology that definitely needs to be said here. Some sort of words of acknowledgement and remorse even I'm hearing. And then under that we have the Five of Swords. It's more of that self-serving energy, winning at all costs, winning sneakily if you have to. not really regarding the feelings of others because you just want to win. And then under that, we have the Lover's card presenting itself to us. I do love the Lover's card in this deck. I think it's so beautiful. I wish this camera would focus more. It wants to focus on the damn shells, but it doesn't want to focus on the beauty of this card. But I digress. With the Lovers presenting itself here, I definitely think that there is a karmic tie present with this person. And the Six of Cups is under that, so that's kind of a bit of a confirmation for me. But of course, this is a general reading. Please take what sticks and leave the rest for the universe. And then we have the Page of Swords. So there is a like an expression of emotion, but it feels very like immature and juvenile, and or if not that, underdeveloped mainly, if not immature, just simply underdeveloped. Within this person's deliverance. So I feel like that is also something to take into consideration when weighing in on if you are willing to stay or not. And just know that this is something that, even if it's very familiar and you are not wanting to go just yet, know that it will not necessarily take time to rectify itself, but know that it will take time to get through. Especially when it comes down to having that initial conversation. I feel like there isn't going to be common ground established at first until you kind of get a little bit more into your deliverance, so to speak. That, again, you have the power of foresight. Now, that does not mean it has to be an explosive argument or a debate or anything like that. But when you are speaking about your emotions, it's natural for you to feel a bit charged. You are talking about something that is affecting you mentally and to some degree physically, especially if you are a very sensitive person and your body tends to get a little bit out of whack when you feel out of whack. I know I am definitely that kind of a person. When I'm feeling some sort of way, my body just like completely distorts its systems, to be honest. So that is something to keep in mind here, that it is something to be addressed, and if you are looking for like a quick and easy fix, there is none. I'm sorry, but I'm being very honest with you. But there is integrity and respect present. I will say that there isn't like sneakiness or lying or anything deceptive or hurtful present. I feel like it's just not to say that it isn't hurtful to you or to brush off your energy, but it really is just this self-serving energy that's here, where there is an equal give and take. Maybe it's as simple as this person not spending enough quality time with you, or maybe it's a bit more severe. This is a different situation for each and every one of you. Perhaps you identify more with that development of closeness with your femininity and the balancing of your masculinity for others of you. So what I think this is all about is just about balancing feminine and masculine energy, like across the board. Like that's what I think this particular reading about. And it's about you again accepting what you can change, accepting what you cannot change, excuse me, and changing what you can control. I think that's the big mantra with your particular oracle card here, my beautiful UNAKITE collective. Accepting your sweetness, accepting that you are a beautiful flower whose nectar is worth so much more than you realize. It sustains so much life, and you don't really account for how necessary it is within its integration in the universe. And holding on to that very reliable, grounded nature that you have is so important. It's not worth giving up, and it's not worth sacrificing to appease another party or circumstance. It is always more what's the word I'm looking for, rewarding to be true to yourself and your boundaries and standards in the long run than it is to put them on the back burner or sacrifice them, even if it is for the sake of the greater good, as I like to put in quotation marks. It's not about you, not accounting for yourself, especially if you're constantly accounting for other people. And if other people aren't willing to reciprocate that energy to you, then you know where you stand, and it is time for you to make a decision accordingly. So with that being said, allow me to get a little bit more of some oracle cards here for you, just so we can get a more concise theme for both paths. So for Path A, please, Spirit, for the UNAKITE Collective, what words and affirmations do you have for them about Path A and what it holds? What words and affirmations do you have? Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Mama. Here we have protection. Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's very, very fitting to everything that we've been talking about. Alright, so for Path A, please, Spirit, for the UNAKITE Collective, what words and affirmations do you have for them about the promise of Path A? Ooh. Hello, Mama. Service. That's that Three of Pentacles energy like we were talking about here. Interesting. Your bottom deck energy is sustain. You know what? I'm going to keep that here. Let's keep that there. Alright, so now let us shuffle for Path B. Ooh. Okay. So for Path B, please, Spirit, what words and affirmations do you have for the UNAKITE Collective about Path B? What words and affirmations do you have for the UNAKITE Collective about Path B, Spirit? What words and affirmations do you have for the UNAKITE Collective about Path B's promise? What words and... Whoa. Okay, I'm going to take two. And let's see. We have nurture and connection. I feel like that's extremely self-explanatory. And the bottom deck energy is dream. And under that we have subdue. Interesting. Mystery under that. Okay. So, let's get into this. So, with sustain being the card that comes out as your bottom deck energy, this is about you sustaining your strength and silence primarily, especially with protection here and service here. I feel like this is you kind of keeping up with the status quo, just so you have more time to ground yourself, ground your path ahead, get all your resources and options and cards, literally as we're doing right now on the table, and seeing what is the most sustainable path ahead for you, and ensuring that you are able to provide for yourself and support yourself along the way, especially with the service card showing up under that. I feel like also you know that you are engaging in this particular building or service, especially with that Three of Pentacles here, for your own protection, for your own sake. So you can move and speak when you feel the time is right, and ultimately allows for you to sustain your way of living, especially if you are very big on this Queen of Pentacles energy and you have a very set standards for living and for having your household. I think that you taking all the time that you can to ensure that you are securing that for yourself before you make any decisions or movement forward would be very, very helpful for you if you are choosing to stay a little bit longer. Now, if you are looking to get the hell out here, or if you are looking to rectify this connection, we have the dream card as your bottom deck energy that has come out. So this definitely is with the golden poppy. So this is definitely about you looking to find different ways to blossom this particular connection, especially with the nurture card coming out here. You are looking for alternate means of establishing this particular dynamicism with the connection card coming out. This is literally about you dreaming of nurturing a connection. And it's so funny because with the High Priestess here, I always think of dreams. So perhaps this is something that some of you have dreamed about too and are wondering if there's any validity to what your dreams are trying to tell you. The answer is yes. If not that, I think that meditation will also provide answers for you about how you can move forward with grace and dignity, whether you are choosing to nurture this connection or nurture the connection to yourself primarily, especially with that Eight of Cups here, nurturing your connection to your inner sanctity and prioritizing that above all. If that is the name of your game, then I definitely think that either way, if you are choosing Path B, you or Path A or Path B, you meditating, my Unakite collective, will be very, very helpful for you because it's allowing you to gain a moment of stillness before you enact. And it will allow you to think a little bit clearer about what it is that you want for yourself and how plausible it is for you to achieve that in this current moment. Especially if this is someone that you live with, or were considering living with, or work with, or are employed under. I think that you meditating and asking spirit for guidance, and also asking them for assistance if necessary, will definitely be of importance here. But what I'm getting with this is if you want the connection to work, you have to really nurture it. Like I was saying earlier, it's not something that's going to go away overnight. This is something that you really have to decide for yourself that you want this to work, and you have to put in work to make that happen. Or if not, you can always have the option to nurture your connection to yourself and walk away. If you are here and you are staying, but you are like on the fence of leaving, but you're reserving a lot of yourself, and you choose to reserve your energy and your thoughts and your feelings out of protection because you feel as if you aren't safe when doing so. I think that if anything, you are just sustaining that particular service. You are sustaining that habit. And not to say that it's unsustainable, but there will definitely come a point, especially with the Six of Wands here, where you realize that you are holding on to it unnecessarily, and that you are free to walk away whenever you wish, and you don't have to look back. And I feel like that will definitely be the deciding moment within this period of reservation for you, my Unakite collective. So let's get some final messages from my beautiful Eternal Crystals Oracle for you, my beautiful Unakite collective. So Spirit, for Path A, what final words or affirmation do you have for the Unakite collective about Path A? Ooh, asking you shall receive. Okay. Spirit guides. That's literally the card that came out. Okay. And the bottom deck energy is commitment. Oh, mama. Commit to yourself. That's what I'm definitely hearing for this particular pile. Commit to spirit. Commit to their words and their connection, and fuck all else, to put it bluntly. Commit to your higher self and your higher knowledge, because that will never fail you and it will never lead you astray. So now let's go ahead and see what we can get for Path B, please, Spirit, for the Unakite collective. Wow, okay, that was extremely quick. We have the Iolite here, family, third eye, and we have the Lepidolite, trust, as the bottom deck energy. Muy interesante. And then we have honesty underneath that. So what I think we have here to wrap up this reading is that in Path A, Spirit is asking for you to look out for the synchronicities, meditate. I'm telling you, meditation is important because I'm seeing so many cards here for the third eye. So please meditate or take time to connect with Spirit in any way that is best for you and is applicable to your particular essence. Spirit is asking for you to, if you are in this reserved energy, to commit to Spirit in this moment and the messages that they have for you, because they are only seeking to ensure that you are safe and loved and appreciated and enlightened at the end of the day. And they are not seeking to take from you, rather they are looking to add to your experience, to your world, to your power, to all that you are. And to have trust in the messages and directions that they provide you with, my beautiful Unakite collective. And to trust yourself as well, especially with that third eye chakra. Trust your intuition, trust your commitment to yourself and your growth first and foremost, regardless of what you choose to do. So over here we have family, which is the third eye chakra, and then we have trust, which is the third eye and the crown chakra. So this definitely deals with family for some of you, that family member that isn't cool with you. Maybe some of you are thinking of leaving home even, or moving out of your parents' house. For others of you, if it's not family, then this perhaps is like I was saying earlier, a loved one, a chosen family member that you have, or a spouse, or a significant other slash partner. I think this is asking for you to trust in yourself and to trust in the people around you if you are seeking advice. I feel like, especially with the High Priestess here and the Six of Pentacles in reverse, and the Five of Wands in reverse. I feel like other people's opinions might be a bit conflicting, so don't be too out in the open about your struggles, especially if you are choosing to stay. Be selective about the information that you share with people and who you share that information with, especially when it comes down to issues in your relationship, because that can easily add fuel to the fire if you are currently in a period of confliction. So to remember to only console in very trusted sources right now. And if the spirit is the only source you can trust, and console in them. And ensure yourself that you have your back at the end of the day, and you are doing this to break out of any old karmic bonds as well with family, which I feel like is another reason why that card came out. Breaking karmic bonds that kind of tie families together, and then they have a very distorted idea of love and the resonance and liberation that it is able to provide all of us. And instead choose your more radical unconditional idea of love and approach it with grace and dignity, like you do, my Queen of Pentacles. And ensure yourself that you are doing what you can the best way that you know how, and that any decision that you do make is out of love for yourself and the beautiful spirits that have come before you. So that is what I'm seeing for you, my beautiful, beautiful Unakite collective. I know this was a little lengthy, so thank you for holding on in there with me for this one. Do feel free to give me a little like and subscribe if you're digging the FM frequency I'm throwing off into the ether here. Or you can also leave me a little comment down below if she resonates, or if you have any other questions or concerns. Thank you again for your time and your presence. I will be always grateful for every single second that I spend with all of you. Please stay safe, please stay blessed, and I will see you all soon. Bye. Hello, and welcome to all of you who have chosen the little citrine as your charm for today's messages. I'm going to go ahead and send her down gently right over here. So let's get right into it, my beautiful Citrine collective. Let me lay down the schematics of how today's reading is going to go down, and then we will go ahead and get into the tarot and get into all the beautiful messages that the universe has for you. So today we have one card as the heart. Well, for this reading I'm calling it the pearl, considering we have a bunch of shells, so I figured it would be appropriate for the theme. We have one oracle card here as the pearl of your reading, and considering this is a crossroads reading, essentially what that means for those of you who are unfamiliar is when you are stuck between a rock and a hard place, when you're stuck between two choices, two options, two different ways of being, living, existing, or expressing yourself. This is a good video to come to for reference and for a little bit of insight on what each path can hold potentially in terms of the way in which you're able to navigate through it. But do keep in mind that this video is not meant to dictate your choices. It is simply meant to provide perspective, and it is also meant to provide a little bit of foresight, if you will, at the very most. I am in no way suggesting one choice is right and one choice is wrong. I am simply laying out the narrative as the cards see fit and as your spirit council see fit, my beautiful Citrine collective. So just a disclaimer, just to keep in mind as we navigate through the boundless amount of information that we are going to encounter in this particular reading. Before I do that, actually, let me also light a little candle, because I see Miss Thing over here went out. So not only do I have that, but I also have two different tarot decks that I'm going to be using today. I'm going to be using the two different decks to represent the different paths respectively, and the energy that kind of surrounds it. And then we'll be using two different oracle cards as well, which I think will be very fun. And if I need to clarify, or I feel as if there's a piece of the puzzle missing, I will definitely grab an alternate source and we will take it from there, my Citrine collective. Just wanted to literally lay all the cards on the table for you guys before we got any further in this reading. Alright, so the pearl of your reading is the influence card, which is the spiny star. So I definitely think that with this being the pearl of your reading. When I was shuffling the cards, I do want to say, I was asking Spirit, what is the name of the path that has worked for you? And for it being influence, I think that either this is about how you delegate your sense of influence, or the influence of a current circumstance that exists in your life, whether it be a person or a job or a particular environment. There is something outside of you here that is in the picture that is calling for you to make a decision about how much emphasis and weight it has in your particular realm of experience and reality, my beautiful Citrine Collective. It has something to do with how you're able to delegate the opinion and presence of the people and energies that surround you, and the people and energies that you work with on a day-to-day basis at that. So let's also get some tarot, just so we can get into all of the juicy details and I don't get stuck on one card for too long, because I know I do that sometimes. Alright, so for the Citrine Collective, please, Spirit, what can you tell us about Path A? And I will be referring to them as Path A and Path B for the sake of narrative for you guys, just so we're clear. So for the Citrine Collective, Spirit, what can you tell us about what Path A holds in terms of growth and promise? What does Path A hold for the Citrine Collective in terms of growth and promise? What does Path A hold for the Citrine Collective in terms of growth and promise? Ooh, okay. Okay. We have 3 cards here. I'm gonna take them all. Ah, that influence. The first card that I see is the Emperor. This is about your influence in particular, then, my beautiful Citrine Collective, and how much of that influence are you delegating to the people around you, and how much of that are you also giving to yourself? But there's something about the people around you and what they expect of you that is also influencing your ability to delegate more time towards what you nurture and hold the closest to you. Yeah. We have the 2 of Wands here. Alright, the bottom deck energy for Path A is the Fool. Very, very interesting. This is kind of about you dropping some sort of responsibility or image of responsibility just to have more fun. Something along those lines. But let me also get Path B coordinated so we have a fair assessment of the situation at hand. Let me lay her out gently. Okay. So here we are. Let me move her over. Okay. Delightful. Everybody has space. Whee. Alright, lovely. Here we are. Let's shuffle. Alright, so for Path B, please, Spirit, what can you tell us about it? Path B holds for the Citrine Collective. Wow, that was pretty instantaneous. Okay, I'll take one more card, please, Spirit. What does Path B hold for the Citrine Collective in terms of promise and growth? What does Path B hold for the Citrine Collective in terms of promise and growth? One more card, please, Spirit. Ooh, another 3. Interesting. Your bottom deck energy for Path B is the World. Okay. I feel like you kind of can't go wrong with either decision here in my Citrine Collective, if I'm honest. It's that luck of the Citrine, I think, that's kind of following you. Let me go ahead and lay her down. We have 2 pages here. Curiosity. Interesting. 2 3s, 2 pages. Huh. You guys are really interesting. Okay, let me get into this. This is a vibe. Let me get into this vibe real quick. Hold up. Okay. So this is like living free. This is like, hey Siri, play Young, Wild, and Free by Wiz Khalifa energy. No, please don't. She said she did see an app for that. Thank fucking God. She's listening to me. Oh no. I must turn off the AI. Hold on. This is a private conversation. Okay, here we are. This is an AB conversation. This thing had to see her way out. Anywho's, here we are. Hello. So let's start here with Path A, my Citrine collective. So we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Emperor coming out. Mind you, they came out in that little cluster with the Eight of Pentacles. It's right over here. So I definitely think that this is about you holding on to your sense of responsibility and exploring your current position of power further, or you simply saying fuck it and kind of taking a bit of a risk and seeing how much you can find out about yourself outside of this particular position of influence that you have, my beautiful Citrine collective. I don't know who you are, but there's something about the way that you carry yourself, or perhaps the, like I said, the literal position of like employment that you're in, or maybe even the amount of influence that you have. Perhaps you have like some sort of following on social media, or you're building some sort of following and you're building your voice and presence in the process. I think that what you're establishing here, or what you've already established, I should say, because we do have the Eight of Pentacles, and that is all about hard work paying off. It's not about you working, it's about you seeing reward for your work, seeing results for the work that you've put in. And the Two of Wands is all about exploring potential further. So I think this is about you kind of exploring what it is that you already have established, and you're looking to solidify it, because instead of going to this simple court energy that we have here with the Queen of Pentacles, you're going into the major arcana energy of the Emperor. This is big dick energy that you're looking to transition into. It's like kind of going from like, the best way I could put it is like going from a cashier to like the regional manager of a particular store, like kind of like that energy. I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of what some of you are thinking of. You know, something along those lines. You kind of being in your element, being in your game, and sticking to it because it's working for you, and knowing that you're guaranteed success and stability if you stay. But here we have you wanting a little bit more out of life, a little more zest, if you will. What I find so interesting is that for this particular path A, the Fool is your bottom deck energy, and under that is the Four of Swords. So we have this very peculiar and impulsive energy, because the Fool is corresponding to Uranus. After all, Uranus is a very unpredictable planet. And to see the Four of Swords under that, which is a very passive, almost sleepy like energy, accompanied by something that is so robust and hungry for life, basically. It's very interesting to see this contrast. It's kind of like you, wow. Under that's the Three of Swords. So I feel like there's this like need, or there's this opportunity for you to kind of get out and kind of explore a different part of yourself here with the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is kind of like a card of meditation, or at least that's how I see it. It's about deep contemplation and not taking action, because you're still thinking through your actions of the past in order for you to act accordingly in the future. Because after this is the Five of Swords. It's going from heartbreak to being heartless, essentially, especially with the Three of Swords coming out underneath here. So I think that this is kind of you knowing that you can stay, but you always have the option to leave. And this is kind of like you, especially with Pile B here, you toying with the idea of exploring a venture that is very unpredictable and it's very unlike you. Yeah, especially with under that the Knight of Wands. It's very impulsive of you to have this path open up for you. This wasn't instigated with patience and persistence, I can say that much. This idea that you have to like switch things up is very sudden, because we have two pages here, and then under the World card we have the Knight of Pentacles. So there is more of a juvenile energy to this particular mode of action, path B. There is more structure and assurance present with path A in this current moment. Not to say that, again, path B is incorrect because it's a newer or fresher idea, but what I'm saying is that there is definitely more familiarity here because you're already in your element, like I said earlier. You know how to play the game and you play it well. And you can go even further in playing this particular game. But I think that in the long run, it might lead to you realizing that you want more, especially with the Three of Swords here, that there's some healing to do in terms of how you seek out the vibrancy and fluidity that life has to offer with the Fool here. It's kind of like you knowing that you can take a leap and then thinking about what coulda, shoulda, woulda happened with the Four of Swords here, and then you kind of end up hurting your own feelings in the process with the Three of Swords. And under that, with the Knight of Wands, I think that it might lead you to doing something even more impulsive than this current path of action that you are contemplating, my Citrine Collective. I think that it'll lead you to do something a little bit more risque and controversial, if you will, for others of you, especially if this is about you having that position of influence in a workplace setting, like I was saying, where you have more responsibility to delegate, and there's more people looking to you as a figurehead of responsibility and stability and reliance overall. So over here we have Path B. And here we have the Page of Swords, and we also have the Page of Wands as well, which is very, very interesting. The Page of Swords is also kind of like a little spy, if you will, but he isn't like super sneaky about it like the Seven of Swords is. The Page of Swords, the way that I see it, it's like someone that's like watching you from a distance, but it's like a little kid when they're just kind of like staring at you or like when a baby is staring at you from across the store, and you kind of just look at it and you're like, hello baby. And you know that the baby is simply observing you because it's observing human beings and how they interact. That's how a baby learns how to be human, after all, and learns how to establish a social norm and code among itself and others. It's subconscious information that it's constantly seeping in. You know how people say that kids' brains are like sponges? That's kind of like the energy that I'm getting with Path B here. It's like you soaking up the idea that there is so much more to life, especially with the Page of Wands here. It's a very explorative, curious energy, and it's all about knowing that there is so much more than what scratches the surface, and there's so much more to you and your potential that's untapped. And I think with the Page of Swords here, it's kind of like you looking and waiting for your escape moment, basically. Kind of you like trying to break out of prison almost. And you're just waiting for the right moment when no one's looking, and then you make your swift and silent exit. And it's also about you observing your potential as well, observing this passion as it grows. Because again, that's another reason why I'm saying this idea is very young. You're also like toying with this idea, but you're also seeing where this idea takes you potentially, and if it's something feasible, if it's something worth toying with or entertaining in the first place. And under that, we have the Three of Cups here. And this is all about fun and celebration. It's a really, really good time, the Three of Cups. It's all about you being willing to open up to the possibility of connection with other people, and realizing that there is so much more to the moment, even if it's lighthearted almost. Like knowing that even if you're having a good time, you're having deep conversations with people in that good time. It's kind of like when you like meet someone and you're both drunk and you end up just being like really honest with each other and become super cool after that. It's kind of like that energy, the Three of Cups. And it being paired with the more serious apprenticeship energy of the Three of Pentacles. 2 3. So this is definitely an instigating a new beginning. That's what threes are representative of. They're cyclical. So to see the Three of Pentacles paired with that, I definitely think that this is about you wanting to incorporate more time for fun, because you already have so much collaboration and hard work established. I think that you want more flexibility and freedom in your day-to-day, in your routine, so to speak, and how you rule your domain, essentially. I think that's kind of what you're thinking of switching up, because there is a very established routine and way of being, or standard of living, I should say. And it's something that you can deepen and explore further for yourself, but I think that you're also wondering what to how you're able to what's the word I'm looking for? Live within it. Like, let's say for example, like you're looking between like two different places to live in two different neighborhoods. This would be like probably somewhere that's like closer to where you live now, and this would be somewhere that's a lot further out, maybe like even not even an hour away, but maybe even 2 hours away from where you normally live. Maybe you're switching states, maybe you're switching countries. You know, it's just all about you really stepping out of that comfort zone. That's definitely what you're contemplating here, my Citrine collective. And you're kind of taking into account not just your own influence, but how this decision will influence your standard of living, and will it meet your standards of living essentially, and is it able to sustain whatever it is that you have going on, whether it be work, whether it be friendships here. I think that in this particular case, it would require you to have more foresight and planning when you are wanting to connect with friends and family. Like if, like, let's say for example, this is about you leaving that job and starting your own business. You're gonna have to delegate more time in between like your family and your friends, and then the time for your business, and you're gonna have to ensure that you're able to balance both accordingly. If it is about travel, like I said, this is about you realizing you have to kind of go a bit more out of your way to spend time with the people you love and establish a bit more of a stabilized presence in their life, because you're not going to be as physically present as you normally are. Even if this isn't about you moving, but this is simply about you like wanting to invest more time in yourself primarily, especially with that Queen of Pentacles and Emperor energy that's here. And figuring out like how to do that, I think that also like you working utilizing the freedom of your inner child to help you dictate decisions towards happiness as well. Utilizing like the maturity that you have now to make authoritative or responsible decisions, like especially when you are delegating like some sort of obligation here that I'm seeing in this particular pile. But I feel like in this energy, like this is kind of a bit more like matured. And this one is definitely so much more youthful. I feel like there's so much more room for exploration. And to see the Knight of Pentacles under that, and then under that the Seven of Swords, very interesting. And then the King of Pentacles underneath that. I definitely think that this is calling for a different perspective with the Seven of Swords coming out here. I definitely think that this is about you realizing that not everyone is going to be happy with you walking away from all this responsibility that you have, but knowing that it's kind of necessary. Yeah, because we have the King of Pentacles, and then right under that we have the King of Cups, knowing that it's necessary in order for you to establish your own sense of security and to celebrate yourself. Really, that's what the World card is all about, after all. Celebrating all it is that you've grown and achieved, and are willing to close a cycle in order to welcome in a new chapter, welcome in a new way of living, breathing, being, existing on this plane. This is kind of like you leaving behind what you know to pursue a higher truth. I feel like that's what Path B is all about here. Path A is all about you solidifying the power that you have. Path B is all about you playing around with that power and transmuting it into something totally different. So this really is up to you, like I said, but this is all about you establishing how you want to mold the essence that you currently hold, my beautiful Citrine collective. It's all about how you see fit. You are the writer of your own story, after all. You are welcome to shape your character any way that you see fit. You can give yourself a redemption arc at any moment's notice, okay? Just to remind you that you have, you know, total autonomy over your being and your growth, and that this is simply meant to show you like the different ways in which you're able to grow, which is very cool. I feel like that's the beauty of tarot, the beauty of knowledge and wisdom, and knowing the infinite timelines that you can tap into, which I think is very, very cool. So let's also go ahead and get some oracle cards to further solidify the core of these paths for you, my Citrine collective. Alright, so for the Citrine collective, with spirit for path A. What words and affirmations do you have for the Citrine Collective about path A? What words and affirmations do you have for the Citrine Collective about path A? What words and affirmations do you have? Woo! Okay, okay, okay. Okay, okay. We have 3. We have clarity, abundance, exactly. And growth. Interesting. Your bottom deck energy is adversity. I'm actually going to leave that one here too. Because I feel like it's necessary. Alright, and now for path B. Let me also shuffle it twice. Just to make it nice. Ooh. Alright. For path B, please, Spirit, what words and affirmations do you have for the Citrine Collective about path B? What words and affirmations do you have? Ooh. Tenacity. Exactly. Telling you to have some audacity. There's a lot of endurance present. Utilize it. Preserve. Exactly. I was saying preserve your connections and your commitments to people. Ephemeral. I love this. Your bottom deck energy for this is attract. Interesting. And then nurture right under that. Okay, I like where this is going. So like I was saying, I feel like any of the adversity that you face on path A is a lot of it is internal conflict primarily, my beautiful Citrine Collective. It's about you knowing that you can grow more beyond this material abundance. You kind of get stuck in a 3D a bit. And I feel like this is about you realizing that there is more to your growth than you realize here. Even though this sense of security and stability is very nice. Don't get me wrong. Like it's really reassuring and relieving to know that you're able to pay your rent and put food on the table. Especially now, it's so hard with employment and secure finances in this current moment while we're in the still in the midst of a pandemic. So I think that it pays the bills and it ensures that you have means of surviving, but not means of truly living. I feel like that's the conflict with path A here. Realizing that there's so many different ways in which you can grow and you're not really tapping into all of them, so it's going to kind of cause you to look for alternative solutions. You may do something a little impulsive, you might just end up walking away anyways, but I don't think it's going to be with as much foresight. I feel like it's gonna be a bit more of a quick decision, like I was talking about earlier, especially with that Knight of Wands that I saw. There's more impulsivity present with staying than there is with leaving, which I think is really interesting. And then here we have tenacity and we have preserve. So this is also about you preserving your ability to surprise yourself, your ability to kind of rise to the occasion, preserving your willpower primarily, and your power of transformation and transmutation accordingly, my beautiful Citrine Collective. Especially with the ephemeral card here, this is definitely about you like really blossoming and growing into your spirit and all of the magic that it harbors, and allowing yourself to flow with it for once. You know, it's like you acknowledge that you have this beautiful well of celestial body within you, and you let it flow accordingly. But I feel like if you were to be a bit more explorative with it and go way outside of your box, really, I feel like you're going to attract a lot of experiences that truly nurture who you really are, and it'll allow you to really grow. Yeah, under that we have enhance. It'll really allow you to enhance the way in which you nurture yourself and the people around you, and it'll also just generally enhance your sense of magic and divinity overall. I really feel it's very rewarding on this path spiritually, I feel. Even though it's not the easier path, it's not the more conventional path for sure, especially because I feel like you have a lot of expectation on your shoulders. But I feel like you don't have to necessarily defy said expectation. I think that you just have to come to realize that it's time for you to step out of that version of yourself, because it no longer fits your narrative, it no longer fits your truth, it no longer fits who you are and how you're able to overcome adversity, how you're able to overcome conflict, especially inner conflict primarily. It's going to really call for you to question how you handle your inner dialogue, because I feel like you extend a lot of dialogue to other people, and the dialogue that you are able to provide for yourself and result is very limited. So I think that this either way is asking for you to be more mindful of how much time you spend conversing with yourself and the tone that you use while conversing with yourself as well, my beautiful Citrine Collective. This path in particular, not everyone is going to be the most welcoming of it, like I said earlier, but it will definitely lead you to preserve the connections that do matter and are unconditionally supportive of you. And it'll also allow you to preserve your truth as well, because you're standing firmly in it and you're not allowing anyone or anything to compromise your connection to it. So let's get some final messages for you and see what else it is that we're working with. Alright, so for the Citrine Collective Spirit for Path A, what final messages and affirmations do you have for the Citrine Collective about Path A's promise? What final messages and affirmations do you have for the Citrine Collective about Path A's promise? What messages and affirmations do you have? Ooh, we got 2 cards, exactly. Yes, we have intuition and release and declutter. It's like, this is something you should release for your own good. That's what Spirit's indicating here. Yeah, your bottom deck energy is protection. So yeah, this definitely is calling for you to you're doing this because you want to protect your image and protect your stability primarily, but you need to also make more room. We have good luck under that. You need to make more room for sustainable happiness, my beautiful Citrine Collective. That's something that Spirit is indicating. Like I said, you don't have to choose one or the other. You can incorporate your own mixture of both of these paths accordingly. Timing and free will is always in flux, my lovelies. So remember that you have the power to shape and mold that accordingly. I am simply reading cards. So remember that it's good to release and declutter that sense of control, even if it's just about you releasing control, releasing your routine, your day-to-day, and allowing more room for spontaneity and fluidity. I think that that'll do you some favors, my beautiful Citrine Collective. I definitely think that it'll do you some good to get outside of your box and get outside of your comfort zone. Because I feel like you're so used to being bogged down by responsibility, and it's just kind of time for you to get out of that role for a little bit and do something different. And don't be afraid to surprise yourself or let other people surprise you either, because the world is just full of surprises. And I think that especially now that you are shifting and becoming more self-aware and are stepping away from what is expected from you, even if you're not making any bold or big gestures, you're still modifying the perception that or preconceived notion, I should say, that you've been given, and that's still going to be an adjustment for people. So that's another thing to also take into consideration as well, and to protect your energy accordingly is another thing Spirit is saying. Perhaps even with all this influence, other people are going to see you and be haters, which is another reason why Spirit is indicating protection is necessary. But I think it's just about you wanting to also really protect yourself and your sense of stability. But it would also do you good, just as a reminder, to take time to release and declutter, even if it's your workspace or office, or where you establish yourself primarily, so you can get this done, making sure that it's spacious, it's free, it's flowing, and that you have time in between to feed your inner child and to step away from this position of power is very, very important here. So let's also get some messages for Path B. Shuffle it twice so it's nice. So for Path B, please, Spirit, what final messages and affirmations do you have for the Citrine Collective about Path B's promise? Whoa! Instantly. That's so funny. That card came out for the one of the last groups. What messages and affirmations do you have for the Citrine Collective about Path B's promise, Spirit? What messages and affirmations? Whoa! Okay, we have 3 here. Interesting. Aw, the bottom neck energy is rose quartz love. Aw. I definitely think that if you do choose to walk away from this position of power and just do something different, the people around you that love you are going to be immensely helpful. They might even help you with this venture, my beautiful Citrine Collective. So that's something else to take it to mind, that you have a lot of support present, which is where this position of power comes from. People will be so supportive of you wanting to shake things up. Not everyone, like I said earlier with that Seven of Swords, but the people that mean the most, they're going to provide a lot of weight and clarity with the support and wisdom and resources that they are able to provide you with. So interesting. We have the paradox card here, which is teach. So I think you are also like kind of setting an example by doing this, my beautiful Citrine Collective. You're kind of setting that precedent for other people to walk away from anything that is simply doesn't fit who they are, and to take full control over their destiny and autonomy and life in general. And this is also like a teaching moment for you as well, I feel. It's like teaching you about your power again, about what you are capable of achieving and acclaiming for yourself. And it's kind of like teaching you how to be your own boss again, I really feel. Especially with the Iolite card here, family. Another thing I'm definitely hearing, especially with that Three of Pentacles here, I feel like family here is big, especially with the Three of Cups. If you do have family that you confide in and find them to be reliable, I think that having them help you with this particular venture, or asking them for simply advice if you don't feel as if they're in a position to help, would be immensely helpful, and will provide you with a lot of clarity about your purpose and intention towards this spontaneous leap forward, my beautiful Citrine Collective. Or even perhaps you do this for a family member, or in honor of a family member. And I think that you honoring yourself and your destiny is also paving way for future generations, to be honest. Especially with the Malachite card here, we also have nature, the heart chakra. This is all about whenever I think of generations of life, I think of the heart chakra, because I just think of Earth, thinking of her in her infinite, boundless forms. And I think of here you kind of stepping into your nature in particular is very important here, my Citrine Collective. And if not that, taking time for yourself and taking time for fun either way. And even if it's not fun, but just for a more lighthearted energy, like even if you're just taking a walk in the park or in the beach, or taking time to collect seashells, to connect with your inner child, which is what I did with all the little shells that I have here over the new moon, or taking time to simply be, with no expectation, no pressure, no one looking for you, calling for you, in a place where no one really knows who you are, even if it's like a little getaway for a weekend or something, just to clear your mind and get a game plan down. I think that'll do you a lot of good, just to take time for yourself, and remind yourself that love is the most important frequency. Doing anything out of love is important. Love for yourself, love for the people around you, love for the people that have come before you as well. Especially under that particular card, we have the Hematite card here, which is all about mental strength and the root chakra. So this is calling for you to really own up to that figurehead of responsibility, like we were talking about earlier, and to be yourself unapologetically, or to make time for who you really are. Make more time for that, my beautiful Citrine Collective. Remember that you always have the power to walk away. You have the power to stay and make it work. It's always up to you. Either way, I feel like you are bound to explore your depths. Irregardless of what you choose, even with all of these options that have been presented to you. So I think that this is really just about, again, like how you want to mold your future, how you want to really mold your year ahead, and the paths that you are capable of unlocking. It's really down to how you want to see yourself a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. And are you okay with that? And if not, change it. that is the message that I have for you, my beautiful Citrine Collective. Thank you so much for spending time with me today and for spending time with me always. I am immensely and eternally grateful for every single ounce and minute of support that I receive on the very vast, big wide world of the internet and beyond. Thank you so much for taking time to watch. Do let me know down below in the comments if this resonates or if you have any other questions or concerns. And also feel free to give me a little like and subscribe if you're digging the FM frequency I'm throwing off into the ether here. Thank you again for being here with me, my beautiful, beautiful viewers. Please stay safe, please stay blessed, and I will see you all soon. Bye!